Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr. My name is Wilfred. So in today's episode, I'd like to make some comparison between the two of my favorite games, this game as well as Diablo 3 in terms of the Endgame comparison. So I hope you enjoy this one. At the backdrop was one of my gameplay in this game with Void Crusade. The last 5 missions, I was pushing as high level as I could based on the build that I had. So just for your enjoyment there. Now, if you take a look at these two games, Diablo 3 and Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr, which from now on I'll just say Inquisitor, it is very similar in many ways, but they're also very different when it comes to certain mechanism, when it comes to endgames. So now, Void Crusade is very special to this game. It is typically a series of 5 minutes long mission, all chained together, leading to a final supreme mission. You have to complete around 25 missions in total for the final reward. So each mission has a defined objectives. It is not like Diablo 3 whereby you just kill stuff and get on with it. You have to fulfill certain objective to complete the mission. Also, there are secret missions, a secret mechanism whereby you can unlock into further mission that you can do as well. Now currently there are 9 maps as we speak for this game, and all are being fixed, so there's no randomness to it. You know where the mobs are, you know what the treasure box are, you know where the secret mission triggers are, and so on. But still, I mean, you know, you can still basically the objectives are kind of like all chained together, quote unquote random across all these 25 missions that you have to do. You need the void shard to unlock the mission and the unlock the Void Crusade, and you can collect your first set of void shard by doing just random mission. However, after you run the first few Void Crusade, you should be collecting enough void shard for you to unlock further Void Crusade. So in other words, you do not need to go into any other game mode, but to just dwell onto the whole Void Crusade to keep playing it. The difficulties level of this Void Crusade is determined by the tarot card. You can add hazard to the game for better reward, as well as you can bump the level up to a certain higher level. So level 100 is the base. You could bump it up using the tarot card, and within the Void Crusade as well, depending on what path that you take, you may end up with a pretty high difficulties as well. Now, of course, in this game, high difficulties usually equate to better loot. But as you see in this very specific card scenario I'm showcasing to you, the loot wasn't that great, but it was just my luck. Now, from a Diablo perspective, it is, a lot of you may have been familiar with it, but just for those who may not have played Diablo 3 that much, is that endgame is pretty much a Greater Rift. You do a lot of like Greater Rift to farm gears for your character progression, and usually each of the Greater Rift lasts about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how high the difficulties and how strong your build. Within the dungeon itself is chained by random maps. But it's the same set of map that you have, but it's being chained together in a random manner. There's no objective per se, you just kill enough mobs until you can spawn a boss within the 15 minutes time limit. To access the Greater Rift, you need a key, and the key can only be farmed using the normal rift. So you have to do a lot of normal rift, and then after that you continue doing the Greater Rift and vice versa. Difficulties level is being selected at the very beginning of the rift, so you determine how high you want your Greater Rift is, and once you beat the difficulty level, you can bump up even higher and higher and higher. So that is how the whole thing goes. In terms of the game structure of the two, it is similar, but actually it's also very different from a gameplay perspective. The time investment for Void Crusade may take up to around 2 hours each if you want to complete all the finding all the treasures, which I think you should. But of course, there's a speed farming version as well. You don't have to unlock all the keys within the Void Crusade for the end loot. You don't have to get all the info fragment to understand what some of the chest content would be, but it is entirely up to you. That is really the Void Crusade versus the Greater Rift of the Diablo 3. Now, in terms of the reward, right, the Void Crusade has something quite special when they chain up the 25 mission for you. There's something called the loot quality as well as rarity, the quantity as well, to give you better loot as you progress through the Void Crusade, which may or may not work. As you see in this video, it absolutely doesn't work in the sense, but that is in theory that it should work. And I've seen scenario that it works before. My last Void Crusade before this recording turned out to be pretty profitable, as you've seen in my last video. And also it is the end loot that yield the best result. So you have got to arrive at the supreme mission, and you can and then they'll give you like quite a lot, 6 loot boxes for this season, plus the one final one. So there's quite a lot of loot boxes for you to loot specific loot, but that's about it. I mean, you know, you go for the loot, you invest time, you go for the loot. In Diablo 3, it works a little bit different. Loots are being rewarded after each completion of the Greater Rift, and their currency that you can earn, the blood shard, whereby you can exchange for a specific item slot. So if you are farming for a chest item, you can use the currency earned in the Greater Rift or other game mode to try to gamble for it. That is the main kind of like reward of Diablo 3. And on top of that, if you don't find any loot within the run, you don't really feel like your time has been wasted, because you would have the Paragon level, the XP that is going to increase your Paragon level, as well as you can level up your Legendary Gem as well in most cases. In that sense, you feel as though your character is getting stronger as you invest time in Greater Rift. And unlike, say, in Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr, whereby you can spend 2 hours playing a Void Crusade and you may end up empty-handed, meaning that there's nothing really to it. The only progress, of course, you can see from the tarot card perspective, because the tarot card will provide, you can level up the tarot card as you play the Void Crusade, and you can use the Void Crusades. In the Void Crusade, you can use the tarot card to increase your reward as well, but those are more for currency or for like glory, which is what they're tracking in the leaderboard as well. So it's kind of different when it comes to reward, and that brought me to the final point, whereby let's talk about the loot in these 2 games. So now for Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr, to me, is more like a sandbox game. Unlike Diablo 3, whereby you could research in the internet for the best build, you can farm for the best in slot items. You can keep doing Greater Rift until you find the item, which is very, very common. The drops are very, very a lot, and you can augment it, you can enchant it, and you can more or less form a build using cookie cutter templates to farm those items, and you keep farming to improve the item by farming a better version of the item, maybe a better, higher value, or maybe an ancient, for example. But for this game, Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr, it is, well, I mean, it exists if you want to go for some of the quote-unquote cookie cutter build, but more or less you could form your own build as well. You can build your character around the weapons or the armor that you have. So that's what I do here. So if my weapon give me better kind of like a defensive mechanism, then I can be a little bit risk. I can take a little bit more risk onto other kind of slot as well. I can modify my passive tree as well to form a build that suits my the loot that I've got. So all in all, the loot that you have sometimes can really synergize to each other, but you need patience, you need time. So I usually put aside the loot on my stash and see if I can have an enraged kind of build, or can have a kind of like a berserker kind of build. I can build around it based on the tokens or the loot I have. And each weapons, each armor will give you different kind of skill as well, so it alters the gameplay as you get loot. So unlike Diablo 3, whereby a lot of time the mechanism, the gameplay is kind of static when it comes to getting the final build or just tweaking some kind of like loot. In this game, the Inquisitor game, the loot that you've got just drastically change the way that you play the game. And I guess that is possibly the plus point of it, is the very sandbox build. and just testing what kind of build work and what kind of like kind of combination of all the elements, be it as the gear itself, be it as the SIM code that you choose, SIM doctrine that you form, be it as the passive that you have, all comes together to give you possibly a very strong character, and you can learn and improve upon it. But unlike Diablo 3, whereby the improvement is really based on your skill, based on knowledge, rather than the game keep feeding you XP to make you stronger artificially to do higher difficulties level. So that is what I've got today, and do let me know in the comments box below if you have comments and you have like some question, or you may have your opinion as well, and more than happy to hear you out and have a healthy debate and discussion. Yeah. So now just to wrap up, this Ember run wasn't that kind of profitable, but like I said, I've seen a much better one, so don't get disheartened if things are not turning out your way. Just keep farming and get some kind of like loot for Sandbox gameplay. I'll see you next time. Bye.